What's up, everybody? I felt called to share this message. It's about my life story. It's very important to me, and it's not something that I would put usually in a video. I would put it in a live stream hidden in a bunch of schizo ranting. But, as this journey progresses and we all get closer to this future, it's not without trials and tribulations and karmic tests and all this. So, the first thing I want to start with is that one rapper out of Vermont, the main one, the one that all the kids are really proud of and follow. Before he got signed to a record label, he posted a picture of himself with a black eye. He changed his name to Black Eye Boy on his Facebook. And then suddenly he got signed to a major record label. And his behavior changed very drastically, very quickly. He went from a Section 8 humble guy that loved to make music to someone that did he became very power gamey. I just felt he became dark. And at that time in my life, I had just gone into Burlington, where he's from. And I wanted to make a name for myself because I felt like I would let myself down if I didn't try to get my music out there and try to be this best version of myself. That was my intention that I set, is that I wanted to be this bright star. And the things that followed were very dark, demonic things, situations, people that would come up to me. I met high Satanist wizards that went on to do podcasts and say that after they met me, they really changed their life around. They didn't say me specifically, but I met them at a transitional point in their life, and then afterwards they changed their life for the better. And that happens a lot in my life, where I meet people, and then after meeting me, they transition to a much better life. So when I was 18 though, and I was making beats in school, and I wanted to make songs, and I made it to a music industry school, and I was around famous people. The nephew of my childhood hero was my roommate. And in that music industry school, we were approached by people that weren't part of the school system, that we assumed were just like normal guys that were involved in the music industry. I figured they were looking for girls, like all these dreamer girls that go to this school that want something better. I figured they were going to prey on them. But what we got was that they singled us out, and they gave us food. When we had the food, now that I've learned more about witchcraft, and people have come forward on the internet and spoke about Freemasons and their rituals and things that they do, I'm not sure how much I believe in destiny swapping, but I definitely feel like there's a lot of people that believe in destiny swapping, and those people happen to wear the same symbolism, like this thing behind me. Where have you seen this shape before? So, with the wood behind me. And I am a G, but I'm not a Freemason. But like, certain people that follow ancient practices that still sacrifice animals like chickens and goats. It hasn't gone away. So when they gave me this food, I was still a pioneer, perseverance, trying to do growth over consistency. So my motives were to make music and work out and practice social skills, go to enjoy my youth. So I was going to go up to Columbus to the city, and I was just going to walk around and try to meet people, because that's all I had done before, was just go to random places and meet people, like Old Orchard Beach. One of the best experiences of my life. Just walking around, saying whatever I wanted, seeing if I could meet people and build a better network of relationships. But on this car ride, after they had given me this food, which I think was laced with mushrooms and probably many other things, I was driving 80, bunch of people in the car with me, my friend and I, the nephew of my childhood hero, who was very famous. But he was not involved, they weren't directly connected, he just had music dreams. Me and this kid, who I consider like one of my greatest friends, like a pivotal moment in my life, we started seeing things. I was driving 80. I felt like something came over my eyes, no diddy. Something that was bright, that invaded my thoughts. And it showed me suburban children across the United States that were led astray and would be doing tons of drugs, would be falling into the wrong culture, and would be destroying themselves only to be replaced by some form of ancient darkness, where their light and their dreams and their hopes and their consciousness would be eviscerated, erased, and all that would be left would be that darkness inhabiting them. And I saw many other things that my mind just won't let me remember. And a lot of people that do mushrooms, that have these epiphanies, feel the same way, is that they wake up to so much, and then they realize that all that knowledge can't fit into the world. It doesn't, the whole way the world is set up, that type of thinking, those codes don't mix well. So it usually just gets erased from them, and they become sort of like just different. Because the purity of their childhood was so vivid, and then they learned things, they bit the apple, and then they forgot it. So there's just a hole where there used to be grace and innocence. What my friend told me was that while I was driving 80 completely fine and just lost in my daydreams and in my head, I was here speaking tongues to him, something I don't remember, but I also said things to him, and he can't remember anything he saw, or at least he won't tell me. Whatever I said to him made him quit, and what I saw made me quit. So without telling each other, at the very exact time on the last day of this industry school, before we were going to be taken and placed into the music industry with all these famous people that were just waiting there, excited to meet us, on the day before, we gotta go. And without telling each other, we both left at the exact same time. I immediately went home, and my ex, the girl that I said that I had been in love with since I was 15, messaged me, or I messaged her. Something called us back together, and we went on this amazing journey that she still says is huge in her mind and she thinks about all the time. On our big trip where we went across New England together, and we drove away from everything. We escaped. And then at that point I wanted my whole thing changed. I didn't want to be this famous whatever, but I wanted to prove to myself that I could still do it, and I wanted more potential in my life. to be my own thing. I didn't want to join any industry. I wanted to be my own thing. So I went back, and the whole kids were different. All the kids there were just loser druggies and couldn't freestyle, couldn't make any music. They were like the late to the party guys instead of where we were, which were right out of high school. They hadn't been lost yet. But those same guys showed up. And instead of giving us the food that made us trip, they gave those kids the hottest peppers. So whether or not these were like punk guys that were giving us drugs that forced us to have the spiritual awakening, and they were just fucking with the people, there were people that were allowed to come into the program that weren't part of the program that would just walk right in, like they had a deal with the owner. And they gave those kids ghost peppers. Not ghost peppers, what's the California Reapers? California Reapers, Hotel California. So I wanted to prove myself back then still. So I took one and I sat there and I was like, it's fine. You know, I've been disassociating my whole life. All the other kids were panicking, freaking out, chugging milk. They couldn't do it. I took two more and I just sat there like, you pussies. Then that night, my organs failed. My stomach was burning and my whole body locked up and I couldn't move. So someone took me to the hospital. When I got back, multiple kids had left the program because they were seeing things. So I was literally taken, exalted away from whatever happened, so I didn't have to experience it twice. But multiple other kids left, and the one kid that was like the shining star, who happens to have a last name of the same family as my last name, Irish royalty, that looked a lot like me, but he had blonde hair. He left at the same time of the same day before their test. He left too. He got taken before all the other kids left, or to go to the industry. He left too, and he was one of the most talented kids I've ever met. I was just upstairs in my attic room of this small place in the middle of the woods where the industry would work. And he wandered up drunk. Now I can tell when people are just tuned out, and then they think that they're making decisions, but it's not them. Something brought him to sit next to me, and I got to see who he really was. And then he left because he saw things. Fast forward, I've been kidnapped and put in voodoo rituals traveling across the country. I've gone to Miami. That my sleep paralysis demons developed after that moment in the music industry. Everyone I met in Miami that had any sort of clout, over 1,000 subscribers, they have sleep paralysis. Every 33 life path I've met has sleep paralysis demons. Whether it's a test and a trial for them to grow, to embrace their spirituality, or literal attacks from something that doesn't want them in this place. That happened. So, if you've been following the channel for a long time, you know that Casey, let me see how long I have. Casey's huge. A lot of what I do is thinking about how to save people and saving youth when I was in DCF custody and all my friends, and I was just born onto the island of misfit toys. So all these people that would come on, I try to help. So there was a kid in Burlington that I tried to help. And the same way all these other things let me down, it was revealed that he was embracing that. He changed his Facebook status to Black Eye Boy. His first album cover was him with the Masonic black eye, and he was 19. And I tried to help him. I tried to help everybody in there. I made a difference. I performed at parties. I persevered. A lot of people would meet me out in the woods that had dreams, and I would show them a better way. And I posted just a picture of him with the black eye, with the Black Eye Club, and then him saying that he's part of the Black Eye Club on his fan page, where his brother runs it and his grandfather oversees it, and his grandfather loves him and shares it. So his family's very upset with me right now on Facebook. I woke up to that. A lot of people are really mad at me for it. So I just doubled down and I posted all the proof. that he's part of a cult and that I was targeted by the cult for a long time. And I made so much effort to destroy my reputation and hide, only to be consistently met with violence and demonic stuff for years now. So I just wanted to say that that happened. That's why I'm a big disappointment to everybody, because I left. And that this way, at least, I seem to have found more fulfillment in my authenticity than I ever did trying to be a dancing monkey for people that I don't give a fuck about. And that I hope that in the end of the day, they just want to convince you, like Dave Chappelle said, that they own your soul in perpetuity throughout the universe. And that it's just a way to convince you to get more of this life that you're living, which is a gift from God, more to take that away from what you're meant to do. And then at the end, you go back to God. That's what I hope, is that the main goal of these people is just to farm your blessings, to ruin your experience on the planet, and then you go back to God and say, the other team really fucked me up, and then God's like, I know, but I've always been there.